when you draft a running back like Saquon Barclay, first off, at number 2, it's bad, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're a bad team, you're just wasting this guy's athletic prime, which sucks because as much as running backs are not valuable, watching ones that are incredibly athletic and great is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And it would be really cool to see him on a great team.
Yeah, and we saw over the course of the last few games like what, how great he can be, and they did win a couple of those games. They blew out Miami. They beat Washington in a sort of a thriller, and he had 92 rushing yards in the last game against Philly, and ultimately he ended up with over 1,000 yards. He hit all the benchmarks despite being injured this year, and
sucks.
Yeah,
if you could put him on one playoff team right now, where would you put Saquon Barkley? Because I have one, and it would be awesome.
Houston.
No.
Okay.
I'd put him on the Chiefs.
Here's a question now, which I want to get to. Of the 12 teams left in the playoffs, is there a head coach among them that could possibly be replaced? Because I have one, and it's something that I brought up a few times and gotten mocked and ridiculed for, but I think it has a chance.
Is there a... I don't think so.
So I think that there's a better, so here's the thing with Garrett, right? The reason why this is maddening for Garrett and the Cowboys is that you are missing out possibly on opportunities to acquire a coach during this limbo situation. Mike Zimmer, former defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, big time Parcells guy. Vikings, Kevin Stefanski was on the Browns short list before, has done a pretty good job as their offensive coordinator this year. Is there a chance that we see some sort of Lovie Smith, Dirk Cutter situation or failed Dan Quinn, Kyle Shanahan situation where the Vikings elevate Stefanski? They already have Kubiak in the role of advisor. They do appear to be a team that if they get blown out this week, there's a lot of questions about, Zimmer's a great coach. They've made the playoffs 3 out of 6 years, one of the best defenses in the NFL, and what does that even get you, right? You know what I mean? And if Stefanski leaves, now you're back to a situation you're flipping a coin. John DeFilippo was a bad offensive coordinator last year. They've sort of gone from Shurmur to DeFilippo to Shurmur. And it's okay.
Shurmur's available.
And right, exactly. So they're talking about, so there's a situation where.
So Minnesota loses 35-10. Yeah.
And there was
the problem
some rumors about them possibly trading him to Dallas.
Trading Zimmer to Dallas.
Yes, for a draft pick.
I can't possibly imagine Dallas bringing in old Mike Zimmer as the face of this new young team. Bill Belichick has a boat that he renames for the number of rings he's won, which tells you something about Bill Belichick. He likes going on a boat. You know what you can't do in Cleveland? Enjoy time on a boat. There's no chance this dude wants to go spend 5 hard years toiling in Cleveland. For what? For what reason? The dude's already the greatest coach of all time. He has a lovely, I don't know if it's his wife or girlfriend now. Are they married? Anyways,
I don't think so.
They enjoy spending time on the boat. We've seen him on vacation. There's a 0% chance that Bill Belichick wants to go deal with that dumpster fire. It's going to be some young guy who's like, this is my chance to prove it. If I can make the Browns respectable, I can do anything. And then he's going to go in there and people are going to start leaking information about what he does on New Year's Day, and it's over.
Okay. I mean, I've seen historically Vince Lombardi died as the head coach of the Redskins, right? He literally went to that franchise to try to resurrect it. There's something in it, there's some unfinished business obviously in Cleveland because he got fired by the Browns, all that kind of stuff. I feel like there's a non-zero but trace chance.
It's negative. I'd say there's a better chance that Bill Belichick is the next commissioner of the NFL than there is Cleveland Browns head coach. I'm going to make a bold prediction that Baker Mayfield in 5 years is on the verge of winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots.
And Jameis is the quarterback of the Browns.
I think there's a better chance that Belichick coaches Mayfield as a Patriots quarterback than as a Browns quarterback, and that the Browns are still looking for a head coach in when the decade turns in 2030. They're like, wow, Baker Mayfield, greatest thing that ever happened to the New England Patriots. What happened with Tre'Davious White and DeAndre Hopkins was Tre'Davious White actually got flagged 3 times. That's not something that's ever happened before for Tre'Davious White. I anticipate DeAndre Hopkins having a lot of success. And if Will Fuller can at least sprint down the field a few times, Kenny Stills is a guy that is a very solid wide receiver. Mm-hmm. The Houston Texans are, I believe, 7th in EPA per pass play. They have a dramatically better offense. They have the dramatically better quarterback. And the fact that they are only favored by 2.5 is an absolute slap in the face. For the Houston Texans to have a successful season, for Deshaun Watson to feel as though he is making progress, they have to win this game. I think at 4.5, there is value on the Patriots, and here's why. The Titans' defense is terrible. Over the past, since week 12, they have one of the lowest pressure rates in the entire league. Mm-hmm. They're also contesting catches at one of the lowest rates in the entire league. And if you're thinking about what's wrong with the Patriots, well, it's been that Tom Brady's either been under pressure or his receivers have been, dealing with contested targets at the catch point and not getting open.
To me, I don't think Tennessee's offense is going to beat the brakes off of New England's defense. This game is mostly going to be about if New England can score enough points to win the game. And to your point about Tennessee, they don't create pressure. They can't cover. So
it is going to be ridiculous how loud it is inside the Superdome. And the New Orleans Saints can rush the passer. Mm-hmm. Top 5 team in pressure rate, blitz a ton. Kirk Cousins not folding in that situation is a long shot, in my opinion. And the fact that we need to remember, as you said, that he is simply an average quarterback. There is blowout potential in this game, no doubt about it. And it's the Saints. I mean, the Saints have all of the pieces. They have the revenge side of things. They have the better quarterback. They have the better defense, obviously. The better coach. So I don't know. It's the path for the Saints to cover 7.5 seems daunting when you just look at the power ranking of both teams. But when you think about the matchups, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and so for this one, when we're looking at betting angles for this game, I'm much less inclined to lay the 8 with New Orleans. But here are a couple ways that I think about betting this game in terms of sort of derivatives. And we wrote about one on PFF.com, so go ahead and take a look at it. One of the ones is, Saints first half over, right? Because we've seen at times the Saints get off to a hot start. We saw it against Carolina. We saw it against San Francisco and all of that. They continue to do well in that game. Get off to a hot start and then kind of, run the game out because they're ahead. But right now you can get 13.5 first half points, which you're basically asking that Saints offense to score 2 touchdowns in the first half. And, you are laying a price for it. 14 would be, somewhere more, even like, 100 minus 110 type of thing. Either one of those I think you can't go wrong with. Another one that I really do like is teasing this game down to like 2.5 or less, because that way, if this game's laying at 8 right now, you can take a 6-point teaser down to 2. All the Saints really have to do is win the game by a field goal. You match that with what we talk about with Tennessee, or what we might talk about a little bit later with Philadelphia, and that's a pretty good. That's teasing through 2 key numbers, 7 and 3. I think is a pretty solid play.
All right, the Sunday night game is Eagles Seahawks. Now, aside from both these teams being birds, I feel like we're watching 2 teams face each other. And the reason for that is that both these teams have supporting casts that suck. Both of these teams have quarterbacks that are really good. Now, Russell Wilson certainly has played better than Carson Wentz this season, but the only reason that these 2 teams are anywhere near the playoffs is because they have 2 really good quarterbacks. And I'm trying to think about which one, like, both of these teams just play from behind, find a way to grit it out at the end, and play a lot of close games. And the Seahawks have won a lot of them this year, and the Eagles obviously, finished the season just barely hanging on to win.
Yep.
I would be willing to say that Carson Wentz is probably going to have a 10% lower pressure rate in this game, maybe 15. The Seahawks do not get pressure. They just cannot. And so if you give him some time to find guys that are open, whereas Russell Wilson is facing pressure on 45% of his dropbacks, he doesn't have as many times that he can beat you. Mm-hmm. And you say that, okay, well, the guy that has more clean pockets is at home. He's an underdog.
Yep.
Like, that to me is kind of compelling. It's really hard because both these teams feel so like I just have no idea what I'm getting. The Eagles have basically been the Falcons this year in terms of everything going wrong. I think they have the most drops on 3rd or 4th down of any team in the NFL. Like that's exactly what the Falcons have been.
Behavior.
It's like it's not something that's stable, but for this team, it just happens.
Yeah. This number has moved a little bit. Obviously, not through any key numbers, but Philly opened at a -1. It got out to Seattle -2, and then now it's Seattle -1.5.
I see it at -2 some places.
Yeah. So this is like you're not crossing any key numbers. Honestly, if you can get lucky enough to get any of each side at +3, that to me is like the best bet of the weekend. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's ever going to get there. So the one option that because Seattle has not extended on any teams at all this year, they're a close game team. Is if you want to look at another teaser leg, I do think if you tease Philadelphia to +8.5, that's through the 3 and through the 7. That's another possibility. And you're getting a team like Philly who likes to play close games. Seattle likes to play close games. You don't really care who wins. You just hope it stays close. That to me, if you look at possible teaser combinations, you have 3-2-2, 6, 3 combinations of those that you can choose. Right?
It's just a teaser type of weekend, which I like because they're fun to play. Lock of the week stuff.
Which last week we did not have one because Tennessee game.
Right. They ended up deciding not to
play their guys.
Their guys are just fun. We're either picking a teaser or we're going with Houston -2.5.
Yeah.
Where are you leaning?
That's a great. So the Houston -2.5 is just so pure. I don't think it's a lock. The problem is I don't think it's a lock. But I do love being on the side of Deshaun Watson. It's just so comforting.
It's a good feeling, man.
And the Bills, like I like the Bills as a franchise, but I think this is another game where I don't know. Like, and here the thing is, you're only laying 2.5. You're not laying the full 3. So like if the back door's open, the Bills are going to win the game outright, right? It's not going to be one of those where we're laying 4. And Buffalo is down 10 with 3 minutes to play, and we're sweating out the last drive. Like, our Houston's incentives are aligned with our incentives here.
So I am with you, but I will point out that New Orleans -2, Philly +8.5 is very enticing because we enumerated the many ways that New Orleans is far superior to the Vikings. I think the only reason that you would be really worried about that is that maybe Drew Brees' signs of decline really manifest themselves here, and he really struggles.
If they play like they play in the first half against Tennessee the whole game, we might be in trouble. Yeah.
Philly +8.5, you risk Russell Wilson all of a sudden just saying, you know what, I'm going to have one of these games where I'm going to throw 5 perfect 30-plus yard passes.
Yep.
And he can do that. No quarterback has a better accuracy rate on over-the-shoulder throws than Russell Wilson. I mean, he's fantastic at them. But both of those scenarios feel pretty outlierish. So the Tennessee one is risky to me because of New England and just what they can do.
Right. If they play
Ryan
like they did against
gets
the
food
Chargers.
Poisoning, eats bad crab the night before. Just happens.
If they play like they did against the Chargers in the playoffs last year, this game, you're sweating out like the backdoor cover here. But Tennessee could win the game outright, right? So I don't know. What do you think? Where do you gun to your head? Which one do you have to take?
My initial, I think so here's the thing. I think the game that has the most, where the market line is the most divergent from where it should be is Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I like both teasers, I do think both of those lines initially are pretty efficient.
We should make a national holiday, like June 1, National Resolution.
Get your shit together day.
National Resolution Day.
Yeah, National Don't Be Fat Anymore Day, where you decide to. And here's the other issue:
but it's not just. It's so like, for example, I have a coffee addiction. I decided on January 1st I was going to give up coffee for a month, and like it's not just weight related things, but it's honestly like literally just like natural self-control day.
Well, my problem with those types of things, now I think you can probably make some good out of this, but when people go, I'm going to do something for a month, I'm going to stop smoking cigarettes for a month.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Month goes by, back to a pack a day. I'm going to work out for a month straight.
Right.
Okay, that happens. I then eat 6 pizzas and don't work out for the next 11 months. Rinse, lather, repeat.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.